There's a common argument I hear everywhere at the moment that money can't buy happiness. There's even scientific research to indicate that after a certain income, I think it's around £70,000 a year, money stops being a contributing factor to your well-being. I call bullshit on this. I actually believe through personal experience that money can buy happiness, providing you spend it on things that actually bring you joy. The problem is that in the modern world, marketing is so subtle and pervasive, we often end up spending our cash, or even worse, credit, on items that really bring us no value. Our news feeds are constantly filled with ads and sponsored posts selling us on the happiness a certain product can provide, and we succumb, purchasing items impulsively and without much thought. Hey guys, how's it going? In this video, I'm going to take you through a really simple but effective method that I use to prioritize my spending, so you can use your hard-earned cash to purchase things or experiences that are really going to have some value to your life. First, I'm going to take you through return on investment, a fundamental component behind mindful spending, before showing you how I use Notion combined with a return on investment calculation to prioritize spending. Finally, I'm just going to talk you through some pitfalls that you might want to avoid when using this system, and I'll leave the timestamps here. If you want to jump straight to the meat of it, which is the Notion template, you can go ahead and do that. So my 9-to-5 job is working as a product manager in a tech startup. And for those who aren't aware, the role of a product manager is really just to understand the customer's problems and to prioritize those problems in terms of what should be worked on next. Now, when working out this priority, there's really only two major things that you need to consider. The first one is the value that the feature or solving the problem is going to receive. And the second one is the investment that's required to make that product or feature a reality. So taking the example of the YouTube monthly subscription, a product manager has probably worked out that it's going to deliver, an extra 10 million in revenue a year. I mean, obviously it'll be a lot higher than that. And that the investment of the engineers might cost 5 million. So the return on investment would simply be 10 million over 5 million. So it's a twofold return on investment. It's a very basic calculation. If you're thinking about return on investment 8 hours a day, it's quite natural that it's going to seep into other areas of your life. What's the return on investment of my side projects? What about my gym routine? What about my girlfriend? Through thinking like this, I realized that a lot of the items that I was buying weren't actually delivering a good return on investment. I'd go out and purchase something on a whim, and then a week or two later realized that I didn't really need or want the item. And that's why I went around creating this system to help me prioritize what I wanted to spend my money on, so I could actually ensure that in the most optimal way I was buying happiness. Let's take a look at this system, and I'll leave a template in the description below so you can check it out and work along with me if you like. So the first thing you'll note is the little subtitle here. I only use this to really track what I consider to be luxury spend. So I'm not obsessing over, buying a new pair of underwear or t-shirts or anything that, I might consider essential. And I'd probably recommend that you do the same. You don't want to get too anal about what you're tracking through this process. So the first two columns just show the item and a link to the item. I actually just recently added this idea of putting the link in there because I found that even if I'd committed to buying an item, I would still procrastinate spending loads of time looking at different alternatives, or even just looking at the same item again or again. I don't know if you do that as well, but I found that just putting the link in here helps sort of cement that this is something that I'm probably going to buy, and I'm not going to waste any more time looking at other things that could be a substitute. The next column that we have is cost, pretty self-explanatory, and the fourth one is the pivotal one, the really important one that requires a bit of thought, and that is expected joy. Now, without going to Marie Kondo on you, the idea here is that you really want to just put some thought behind about that item, and from a scale of 1 to 10, how much joy do you think it's going to bring you? And this can be, quite a difficult thing to quantify like this, and not something you want to obsess over, but I'll just talk you through a couple of examples about how I think items are going to bring me joy, and hopefully it might help you to do the same. One of the first items that I have here is the overhead rig, and I've given this a really high joy rating of 8 because, thinking about it deeply, what I really enjoy doing at the moment is creating these videos and just seeing the videos getting better and better every week. So by purchasing an overhead rig, which would allow me to set up a vertical camera so I could film myself drawing graphs and charts and things like that, I really do think that that would help me bring joy. Likewise, we also have on here a new preamp for my microphone because my audio quality is a little bit off, and it would really just make me very satisfied to have the best possible quality audio in my videos. Now, looking at this, you can also see some of the items that I have assigned a lower joy rating to. One of these being a really expensive Tom Ford perfume. Now, while this is an item that I'm really motivated to buy because I just love to smell pucker every day of the week, when I actually thought about it, how much difference to my life is it really going to make if I smell very good? Probably not that much, which is why I've put this down as just a 2 on the joy scale. Hopefully that's given you a bit of an idea about how you can go around thinking about joy and, expected joy for an item. Like I say, it's a very personal thing, and you just need to have a think about why you're purchasing items and what value they're going to give you. The next column that we have is the expected return on investment. And this is just a really simple calculation. It's just the joy over the cost. And then it looks like I've rounded this number a bit as well to make it something readable. And the great thing about having this and ordering it in priority order from the highest return on investment to the lowest return on investment is it just gives you a really clear visual way to see where potentially you should be investing your money. So taking the example of the Tom Ford perfume that I've lusted after for a while now, I can actually see that alongside the other items that I perhaps want to buy with the extra cash that I have left over every month, it's not really that high a priority. So probably not something that I'm going to be buying anytime soon. So I hope you found that somewhat helpful. Just a few closing thoughts. The first one is this is meant to simplify spending so you become more mindful and purposeful about what you buy. It's not meant to overcomplicate things. If you find yourself obsessing over, is this an 8.5 or an 8.7 on the joy scale, that's really, not what this is intended for. It's just meant to give you a quick, dirty insight into how you're going to be spending your money, and do you really want to be buying certain things, or are there perhaps other things that you might have overlooked that are going to give you a bit more value? And the second thing sort of relating to this as well is the idea is that this system should really only just guide your decision making. It's not like you're just handing it over to this algorithm to decide if that's what you are going to be buying next. Quite frequently, I'll actually purchase something 3 or 4 items down the list just because I'm a human and sometimes I feel like doing irrational things. And it might be that in a few weeks I'm bored at an airport and I see a bottle of Tom Ford and I'm feeling like treating myself because everything that I've been buying has been related to YouTube, and I'll just go out and spend some money on it. So yeah, don't necessarily overthink or over analyze this. It's just a tool to help you guide your decision making process. I've really found it helpful to think about purchasing in terms of return on investment, and I really think that you could get some value out of it too. If you found this video helpful, I've actually got a few more Notion guides which I'll leave somewhere around here. And if you press subscribe, I'm going to be releasing more videos like this on a weekly basis. So thanks a lot for sticking around, and have a great day.